and a little learning along the way.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, you know, as we age, we learn that it's really our life experiences that make our life rich. It's not the things that we collect along the way. It's those opportunities that come around that push our boundaries and make us grow a little bit. About 5 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to climb a mountain with her. And she said, hey, we're going to also spend the night at the top of the mountain in a rustic cabin, and then we'll make our way back down to Charlotte the next day. And I hesitantly accepted this. I knew it would push me. She's quite an athlete. And I was scared about this opportunity. I've taken this hike every year since then, and it has become one of the things that I consider one of my most valuable experiences, really pushing me. Let me tell you a little bit about this hike up Mount LeConte. Mount LeConte is right above Gatlinburg, and there are 5 trailheads that you can take to the top of the mountain. My personal favorite is Alum Cave Trail. It's a 5-mile hike up to the top. It starts out rather slow, and it's basically a walk through the woods. It's very lush, and you follow the river. And you hardly notice at this point of the trail that you're even starting to climb up a mountain, but you are. You're on this part for about an hour and a half, and then you reach Alum Cave. Now, Alum Cave is really a bluff. It's 80 feet tall, and it's 500 feet wide, this rock formation or bluff. Just to put it into perspective for you, a football field is 360 feet wide. It's a big rock. It is. It's quite intimidating. And in order to get to the next part of the trail, you have to squeeze your way really where the rock is kind of broken apart. You climb your way almost straight up on an enormous tree stump that has been carved into staircases. Now, most people turn around at this point. This is where they stop and have their lunch. And they go back down to Gatlinburg, and I guess they go souvenir shopping. But we're not going to do that. We're going to push our way through. And at the cave, it's really where it becomes a very strenuous hike. You have about 2 hours left in your hike until you reach the top. And at this point, you are climbing straight up, really. You are hoofing it. Along the right-hand side is the rocky cliff. And in it, the Park Service has hammered in a cable. I love that cable. I called it, after my first hike, cable is my new best friend because I hold on to cable as I go up this trail. The trail itself at this point is 2 to 3 feet wide, and it typically has water and mossy rocks on the bottom that are quite slippery. And then over on the left-hand side is basically the other side of the mountain, the cliff. And if you fell or slipped, it would not be a good thing. However, this steepness gives you the beautiful views that you see when you're in the mountains, and it puts your life's problems into perspective. How small, how transitional, how minuscule they really are, and you continue on your hike. When you reach the last 30 minutes, it changes again. It flattens out, and now the ground is covered with ferns, and there's just fir trees there. We call it fairyland. I think it's because we're a little delirious at this point. We've finished the hardest part of the trail, and we're actually joyous. We know the top is just around the corner. When you get up there, there's about 10 cabins that were built in the 1920s that you can rent. You spend the night in them. They're rustic. They have bars on the windows because of the bears, all that kind of experience like that. They will feed you dinner and breakfast before you hike down the next day. All of this said, it's a beautiful hike. I love this hike. It pushes me to my limits. It truly does. But what I've learned from it is that it also produces a competitive nature in me that is not really in the forefront of my personality. But I find it very special, and I'm proud of myself that I don't turn around at that cave. I continue on. I face my fears of the bears that are up at the top, and so on. I also had a defining moment, really, when I did the trail for the first time. When I went out in my neighborhood and I ran into two ladies that I'm quite friendly with, and I proudly said to them, "Guess what I did yesterday?" And I told them about my hike up the mountain and my night in the cabins, and they looked at me like I had three heads. They truly did. They looked at me as though I was crazy, and they actually told me that's something I would never want to do, and I never will do it. I see it's a defining moment because I realize that my taste, my personal preferences in life is not necessarily the right way or the wrong way when somebody doesn't agree with me. It's just different. I've also learned through my annual hike up Mount LeConte that fitness and health is a lifelong journey. It used to be a short-term goal for me. Lose 5 pounds, fit in this particular size, stop eating carbs, stop having ice cream after dinner every night. But now I use this hike as really my personal measurement to my personal health. I want to continue to do this hike every single year. And if I can hike up this mountain, I'm in good shape. I am a healthy person. In conclusion, life and friends and family push us, they invite us to go to experiences that we're not really comfortable with, that we might hesitantly say yes to. And I encourage you to go ahead and maybe hesitantly say yes when that opportunity comes your way. You never know what the trail will lead you to. Mr. Toastmaster.
An old chocolate lab. Let's welcome Brian.
Fellow Toastmasters, my speech is why I want an old chocolate lab. Cheryl, why do you think I want an old chocolate lab?
Because of your family having an old chocolate lab?
I want an old chocolate lab because I have a young golden retriever puppy. Think about that. I want an old dog because of this. Let's hope I can get it to pop right up.
Oh.
Isn't she cute? She's adorable. She's fluffy. She's young. She's just so cute. She's out to get me. Now, she's not out to get me in the manner of I worry about my personal safety. I mean, I do have a lot of nips on my hands and lots of teething marks around the house. She's not out to get me in terms of my personal safety. She's trying to drive me nuts. My dog is trying to drive me nuts. Let me give you an example of why my dog is trying, this beautiful dog is trying to drive me nuts. Her favorite thing in the world is to do something that I don't like and then run away. How did they learn this? How did they learn that trait? I don't know. But that's what her favorite thing is to do. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about for you non-dog people, maybe people that don't have dogs, something that you can relate to or something you can visualize. Imagine this morning. It's raining. It's cold. The rain is coming down and I've got to go to work. I'm wearing this very outfit and I'm ready to go. It's time. I'm late. So let's take the dog out. Last walk before I put her in her little kennel and take off to work. So she goes outside. First thing she does is pick up a stick. She's not ready to go to the bathroom. She's not ready to do her little thing. The second thing she does is she runs to the back, the very back fence, where there's puddles. Big, deep puddles. Well, that's fine, you know, I can dry her off. But she doesn't stop there. No, that would not drive a normal person crazy. That's not enough. She finds the most disgusting thing she can find, picks it up, and brings it back towards me. Well, it was an old tennis ball. I don't know how that thing must have been, because my last dog stopped playing with tennis balls nearly 6 years ago. So this moss-covered black ball that's clearly falling apart in her mouth as she chomps on it, it's coming back towards me. Drop it, drop it! Sky, please drop it! No, 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 no. That's not what Sky does. She wants to run away. This is time to play chase. This is maybe an opportunity for me to practice my magnanimous behavior. But I instead lose it. She's out to get me. The second reason why I want an old chocolate lab is because, yes, she's ruthless, as I discussed, and she's not toothless, but she's also mine. She's my dog. Now that's not how it started off. This dog was my wife's. I repeat that, she was my wife's. She picked her out, she found her. We went. I was just supposed to go along just to see what the breeder looked like and the setup of the breeder, and we were going to get a puppy in the future. That's not how it goes when you bring kids along. That's not how it goes at all. So we found this dog. We found this beautiful little dog, and we brought her home. And it was clearly, my wife was begging for me to get it. She wanted a fluffy little puppy. She wanted that cute little puppy. And this one was laid back. It was very quiet when we were there. Probably because they'd been playing so hard for the previous 3 days that it was finally resting. So we bring back this dog, and it's now home. And you know who's taken the dog to training the last 3 times? This guy. When it's 6 o'clock at night and it's starting to get dark, and you know how much it's been raining here in Charlotte the past month, 2 months. You know who's taking the dog out? This guy. It's become almost a joke at my house that it's 9 o'clock or so on, it's 6 o'clock, it's 7 o'clock, and all of a sudden I turn, and my wife, who I adore, she's wearing her pajamas. How can you take the dog out and wear pajamas? We have a very close neighborhood. There's people everywhere. You can't wear pajamas and take the dog out, so I get to take this beautiful little fluffy dog out at night, in the rain, in the dark, in the cold. In summary, this is my life. This is my dog. I hope you understand 8 years from now what I've been dealing with, and you will remind me of this very moment in this conversation so that my next dog, 6, 10, 13 years down the line, will be that old, boring chocolate lab. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate that speech. I'm sure all the dog lovers out there can relate.
As far as when you said you hesitantly accepted the challenge going this hike. Also enjoyed when you said you was kind of squeezing and climbing in the mountains. So you did give us a great visual as far as at the beginning of the speech. Also, life brings you lots of opportunities. That was great. And also when you mentioned when you was walking in the mountain, you took a left. That's going to be a nasty fall. So I think me, along with the rest of the audience, got a clear visual. I mean, anytime we was walking a mountain or we was walking on any kind of path where one way it's going to be a fall or damaging the next way, you got a little bit more room for error. So I definitely appreciate that. I did also enjoy your hand gestures here, as far as when you said he was walking, and also when some of the other parts of the speech was kind of describing your actions during the speech. Your hand gestures were awesome, and I love the tone, especially towards the end of your speech when you had that feeling of accomplishment. When you went to your neighbor, you said, guess what I did? I love that because I do that myself. So my friend said I talk smack sometimes. I don't really get that. But I believe it's, once you accomplish something, it is okay to toot your own horn and also say you accomplished a goal. And when you said your friends looked at you like you had 3 heads, that was another great picture you gave the audience here as far as your great sense of accomplishment. I think everybody goes through that when they accomplish something. You brag or tell your friends about it, they're like, no way I could do that. And that was a great description of what the look everybody gets with look like you got 3 heads. A couple of things I'd recommend as far as adding value to your speech and also complimenting other speeches is I love the fact that you use notes. That was wonderful. I felt like when I was looking over there, you could have stepped in here because this right here to me was like a barrier. Mm-hmm. You used your hand gestures great. You had great eye contact, great tone, but this right here was a barrier because you had great motion throughout the whole speech. I feel this kind of holds you back in a way. Another minor thing to tune up, and I noticed before speech, and it kind of, this reading through manual did kind of encourage you to kind of use short points. Mm-hmm. Sometimes during transitions, especially when you're talking about the hike in general, to me it was a little bit rushed as far as the transition were, as far as going from the goal to the mountain, and then when he kind of came back to the mountain, also when you guys ate dinner at the top of the mountain, I felt some transitions were a little rushed. But definitely I appreciate the speech, and I look forward to hearing more speeches from you.
Thank you very much, and I think that was a great evaluation of Kaye, and she will be evaluating Brian Wilson's speech. So Kaye is a speaker and respected author, community leader, and education consultant. She has a large family that she loves very much and has many roles and filled a lot of positions in our community, like trustee of the board at CPCC and a lot of volunteering at her Catholic church. She is currently pursuing her ED at Northeastern University, and obviously is a veteran here at Toastmasters, and we can all learn a great deal from. So please help me welcome Kaye to the podium.
Thank you, Doug. Fellow Toastmasters and welcome guests, and especially Brian. Is that right? You looked at me and I thought, did I get it wrong? Okay. Brian is working out of the entertaining manual, which is an advanced manual, and the first speech in that is to entertain the audience, paying attention to the structure of the speech, as well as relating a personal experience. Did he entertain us?
Oh, yes.
I think absolutely. And he started out with a question and also the title of his speech, Why I Want an Old Chocolate Lab. So you immediately got the connection between what he was about to say and the audience, and that was part of what his objective was with this particular speech. The personal experience he related with the visual he had, I think that was very, very helpful, and he utilized that throughout, not just it's there for a second and forget about that. Initially you think with one picture that how are you going to really utilize that to the utmost, but I think he did because he referred to it all throughout his speech by the descriptions that he used with the little puppy dog. I am an animal lover. And the structure he had, his organization, he did highlight 1, 2, and he went into the training, but he also, how he got the dog. So there was some structure there, and he had fun doing it. I would say the only thing I would recommend is he had notes here, but I didn't even know he had notes until when he got to the training, he looked down on it and said, secondly, and so he really didn't need those. So I would just throw them out the window. You don't need it. What was really positive, I think, his facial expressions, his smile, he got really excited about sharing this experience and sharing it with the audience, and I think that showed. It just lit the room up, especially on this rainy day. So all in all, I think you did a wonderful job, and you also connected your conclusion with your opening, because you went back to saying, sort of like, now you know why my next dog will be.
Thank you very much, Kaye, for the wonderful evaluation.
I prove strength from. It's Christmas time. So the typical in Spain, more in Barcelona. I mean, we are talking about Catalonia. Catalonia is the part that you have here about independence with Spain and all of that. And we have a tradition that is on the 24th night. There is what we say is a tío, that is when the children have a stick, and there is like a piece of wood, and the parents cover it with a blanket. And what we do is that the children goes to the restroom to have wet the stick. So you open the sink and get wet, and goes run to the living room to kick. The children kick I'm thinking about myself doing it. I have done a lot of that. So kick this piece of wood with this, and what they say a song. They sing a song, and they see and they uncover the blanket, and they see presents there. You know, so they get that present. Maybe are sweets for the night. Maybe are little presents, you know, because after comes to the Santa Claus. So they run again. They go running again to the restroom and get wet the stick again. And the parents, while they are there, that's why they have to run to make it wet. They put the presents there, you know, again. So they run again and kick, and that is like it lasts maybe 10 times until the end. That is like maybe like something like a sweet or something to say that this is the end, or maybe an orange or something like that. So the children see that it's end. I mean you know. So that is the typical. It's different than here. It's a nice tradition there. I mean, the children loves it. And beside that, there is after I was not looking at that. So after that, it comes time ago. Also, another differentiation is that time ago we celebrate the Three Kings instead of Santa Claus. Was not so much Santa Claus as here was the Three Kings. So the problem with that is that was the 6th of January. So the children had the presents too late to enjoy it. So they started to adapt the Santa Claus more heavy, more quantity of presents, because this way the children could enjoy more the presents and play with them. Which it happened to me that I didn't have time. I mean, the next day, almost 2 days after, I had to go to school, so I had the presents too late, you know. So I think that's the big difference. And but everything, I think the world is getting pretty much similar ways to celebrate the holidays and all of that, because it's easier, you know, and it's at the end is what is more logical to the way to do it. So I think that. With that, that's all. And thank you very much for listening to me. Very good.
Months to start getting plugged in, Toastmasters, my job as a real estate agent, my wife in physical therapy school, and also we started to get to know people and kind of gain a little bit of a social influence through our church, which was really encouraging. It was kind of scary that, you know, you would come here and just be isolated and not really know anyone, and your big grandiose idea just falls flat on its face. So that, I feel like, was a mountaintop experience, because it felt like we were accepted and found people that we really clicked with. And I find that that's what's most important in my life, is feeling like I'm making an impact on people and that I have good solid relationships and friends.